Hey, it's Brace and Bryan. This is the semi-regular show that I do with Brace Belden. What's up, Brace?
Hello, just pimping in a good way. It's just not. It's slang. I'm hanging out, having a good time, playing with this gun.
Of course.
It's broken. It's a toy at this point. If anybody out there is a metalsmith, please email. Well, don't email me. Find a way to contact me that's non-invasive, and I'll send you this gun. You can fix it and send it back.
I know there are some blacksmiths that listen to this show. I don't know if that's the same thing.
I'm not looking for a mace.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's
actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I am looking for a mace. I ran ahead of myself there. I am looking for a mace.
I mean, who isn't really? So, well, before we get started, we're going to talk about the anchor thing, of course.
Yes.
And we haven't talked about it yet because I'm bad at scheduling. And I think I kind of considered our San Francisco show an informal version of this show, right?
The live show. That was a blast.
I know. It was too fun.
That was fun.
I loved it out on the West Coast. It was great out there. So
yeah,
we're coming back. It was too I think we do better out there than we do out here, which I think most people do, actually.
That's actually not very surprising. This is
yeah. So
you do live in Ohio.
Well, no, we don't do well here, but I think we did better out west altogether than we do when we do like tours out here, like New York and stuff like that. New York's a big state, but we're about to do Philly and Boston and a couple of those places, and who knows how well we'll do there. Actually, we're about to do Las Vegas soon, so that's the one I'm real nervous about. I've never been there.
I would be too.
Yeah. Have you ever been there?
Yeah. No, yeah, when I was really little, my parents took me there. I was like 8. We went to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. So we're going to Vegas in May, and Brett keeps saying, "No, dude, there was a lot of punk there," and I'm like,
yeah, but it's like punk rock bowling style. You know about that?
Oh, is it like that rockabilly shit?
It's like rockabilly, and it's also like guys who love NoFX and wear shorts and shit.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe some people show up, that some of the dealers of the card games might be listeners,
Yeah, I could imagine. There's some people who hang out around pawn shops.
Yeah. So the anchor thing, here's the thing. We've talked about your job on this show a bunch of times, and never occurred to me that there could be a union there. It always seemed like you were having kind of it seemed like to me, the vibe I got was that you kind of liked the job. It was just a kind of a pain in the ass, right?
I mean, that's the way it is. I've had with most jobs I've had. I kind of like it. I like my coworkers, but it's a pain in the ass and I get paid bad.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you have mentioned that. And I think most people, it is the thing, we talk a lot about blue collar people and stuff and like service workers. And on this show, we talk a lot about how they hate their jobs, but they really only hate it because of some of the things that are out of their control that they wish were in their control.
Exactly. You're alienated from your labor in a lot of cases. And then even really in ways I can't even comprehend. And or you're just shit on by people, or fucking your boss sucks. But most of the jobs I've had, the work I actually do is fine. I like making things. I've worked mostly at flower shops. I like making fucking flowers. Sometimes
I liked fixing shit,
Exactly.
when I was working for the cable company, I'd go in the house and they'd have snowy pictures and I'd walk back in later and I fixed it. And I'd be like, damn, I did something here. At least I get to see what I did in the end, but I didn't leave because the work was too hard. I left because of management. I hated the fucking management.
That's the thing. Everybody I work with likes their job. Not everybody, but almost everybody I work with likes their job. But we had 5 guys quit in a month because they couldn't afford to one guy was having a kid. He couldn't afford to have a kid because he'd worked there for 4 years and got 75. I mean, it's a rough estimation, but probably 75 cents in raises that whole time. But people stick around because it's the company is Anchorstein Beer, which is like a company or brewery, which is a company like that we love around here. Like everyone grew up drinking it and shit. So like people like working there. It's cool, it's like a cool thing to do, but it fucking, yeah, it pays bad.
What's it? And it's did you, I think when you made the announcement, it's one of the largest like small brewing companies, right? Or
well, it's small. Actually they call it like the first craft beer company. Because like it's been around since 1896, but this guy Fritz Maytag bought it in like 1965, and like it was like on the brink of ruin, and he revitalized it and made it like what it is today, which is, you know, it was like one of the first like craft beers to sort of market itself like that.
Right. I know that we have it here. Like as soon as I saw that that's where you worked, I was like, oh, I recognize that beer.
Exactly. It's like a beer guy beer.
Yes.
Beer nerd beer.
Hell yeah.
But and then, well, he sold it because he was a real rich guy and he didn't like unions, as you know, he's a rich guy. And so he paid his workers really good, which is the secret. If you're a boss listening to this, which I know that most Street Fight Premium subscribers probably are, pay your workers insanely good because then they won't start a union.
Right. They don't ever think to do any of that stuff. Like if you hate unions so much, why don't you figure out what that amount of money?
Use the velvet glove, not the iron fist.
Yeah, because I bet you it is in the end giving them a bunch of money and just being like, here's just a bunch of money and benefits and vacation time. Now I don't have to fucking deal with you. Like I don't have to actually deal with you collectively coming after me. I'll never have to worry about a strike or anything like that. Like it in the end could be cheaper to them, but they know it sort of feels like now they know they have us beat, you know, like it's harder to get us all together because we're all fucking afraid to lose the job, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's so. What happened was it was like people who'd worked there, and there still are some people who've worked there for like 30, 35 years and stuff. But there was a lot more of those people when it got sold like 6 or maybe 7 years ago to these like investor types. They kind of stripped it of some stuff. They fired most of the employees that made a bunch of money, and then they sold it for really cheap to Sapporo, the Japanese beer company.
Okay.
And so that's when we were like, I got hired about a year ago, and I got taken aside after I started working there, and these guys were like, "Hey, we're starting this union, and you know, I'm helping them out with it." But like we are owned by a $10 billion company. Like it's not like a small craft business anymore. Like we're tapped into this fucking giant corporation, and so like a lot of the guys, it's different now. It's like we're not like all on this team together. Like we're all on a team downstairs, but like the bosses, they're all from Canada. You know, they just moved here. No, nothing against. Well, actually, I want to say that. I'm gonna have to comment on the bosses.
Edit him out saying nothing against Canada. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, Canada's a dump. You kidding me?
You know, I've talked to somebody.
You know how much a case of beer is in Canada, Brian?
I have no idea.
$55, 6-pack.
Okay. How much are cigarettes up there?
Oh, probably at least 200.
You're still jeweling?
I'm jeweling as we speak. But you know what? The guy, because they outlawed flavored jewel pods in San Francisco. But I got a guy that I go to get mangoes, even though I prefer cucumber. He raised his prices $10. This guy can't even sell these legally, and he's trying to charge me $40. I'm not doing it anymore. He's trying to charge me $40 for a 4-pack of jewel pods.
Brace, we can mail you any flavor any flavor you want from Ohio. Even Jewel doesn't make cucumber anymore, right?
If they don't, I am gonna repair this gun. I'm gonna blow my fucking head off. I love cucumber.
I think Jewel quit making all the flavors under pressure from I believe the FDA would be the people. Like they started to pressure them about like outlawing menthol and shit like that.
What the fuck?
You're gonna have to look that up though. You're getting news from an idiot. But
I believe it. You're on the radio. They wouldn't put you on here unless you told the truth.
Well, they have there's a head shop by my house that I'll take a look at what they have there, because they have a company that's not Jewel that's selling different flavored pods.
That's what I've heard. That's what I'm into. I'm liking what I hear there.
Okay, I'm gonna check into this for you. I'm gonna get you mango pods out there.
If you can get me cucumber pods, I will fly out there and suck you off.
Well, I can just get them to you for you at cost. So
well, I'll suck any of your enemies off too.
Okay, that would work for me.
I'll fucking ruin their lives.
But yeah, I think I can get those out there to you. I walk by the head shop every day. I'll go in and check on it.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
I don't go in there. I just walk by it. It's on my route. Okay.
Do they sell like before weed was legal there? Did they sell like those fake weed things?
Yeah,
like they sell like
they'll sell anything that is supposed to get you. They'll sell anything not even that's supposed to get you high. They'll just sell anything that looks like drugs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I remember like I was driving through somewhere like in the South or the Midwest or something. There was all these like things called like hemp and shit like that. They sold at head shops that just look like regular energy drinks, but they were supposed to trick you into thinking you were getting high or something.
They make little tiny things of purple stuff that's called lean.
Yeah, they got that here too. But what the hell is in it?
Oh, probably melatonin and like valerian root and
That's
shit.
Fucking baller.
I know.
I want to meet if the CEO of Lean is probably cool as hell. He just got lots of herbs.
He's like the cocaine guy, right? The cocaine energy drink guy. That guy probably made a couple. That guy probably made a cool $1 million and just got out of it. You know, that wasn't a disaster.
I'm sure he was probably blacklisted to some extent after that.
Yeah, but I think it's cool when these companies just say the quiet part loud. You know, like
absolutely.
I've always been that way about weed. When weed was illegal and people were fighting to get it legalized for recreation, for medical purposes, I was like, well, I personally want it for recreational purposes to get high off of it. And like every time there's a push for something like that, I'm always like, no. I like with kratom, people are like, I use kratom for all kinds of therapeutical stuff. And I'm like, I use it because it like feels really good when I drink it. So the cocaine energy, I was never against cocaine energy drink. I was actually never against Four Loko. I was fine with it.
I was totally fine with Four Loko. But you know what I don't like is fucking that they, you know what? Actually, I wasn't fine with Four Loko. They pushed the envelope too far.
Oh, really?
Ridiculous. Yeah, Sparks. Remember Sparks?
Yep. I have buddies that love that shit.
A perfect beverage. You had one Sparks and one half pint of Jim Beam, cost you like $8, and you're good to go for the night. Maybe $10. I can't remember. You're good to go for the night. You're fucked up. You're good. You're hyped up. And then they start just making Sparks, but like 5 times as big.
Yeah, the Four Loko, like throw in that guarana in there and taurine and creatine and alcohol.
It's if you drank an energy drink that was that big, you would be fucked up.
Well, people are super into Bang now. Have you tried Bang?
No.
It's one of these fucking it's an energy drink with creatine in it.
What is creatine? Isn't creatine illegal?
No, it's like weightlifting shit. It's like it's like a pre-workout. It gets you fucking going, man. It gets that shit pumping. Yes, I bet Felix drinks Bang. I can almost
without a doubt. Without a doubt.
We'll have to check. I'm in a drug chat, and everybody in there drinks Bang.
I gotta lift kegs at work. Should I just drink Bang before I go in?
I mean, it can't hurt. I don't know though.
Probably could hurt.
What are you like? What is your reaction to caffeine? What is your caffeine tolerance?
So I'm sober, as I am legally required to state every 2 fucking minutes. So I drank, when I first got sober, I drank like about 100 cups of coffee a day just to feel something. But lately I've been trying to I was thinking of switching to green tea. I'm never going to do it. I'm still going to drink coffee. But the thing is, I can only have coffee until about noon. Because if I drink coffee after noon, I'll be up all night.
See, I don't mind that. I drink a cup of coffee every day at 5 p.m.
Jesus Christ.
And I feel like I'm up all night till 4 and I sleep till 2. But I'm a podcaster, so who gives a fucking shit?
Exactly.
What I'm doing. Bang is not your I'm reading the ad copy for you.
That's fine. You should get sponsored.
I should. Well, we want to get sponsored. Brett takes shots on camera when we do the basement shows and the call-in show. Brett constantly takes shots of this menthol tobacco flavored vodka that somebody sent us. We want to get sponsored by them. It's the Ivanovich Company, is what they're called.
Whoa.
It's menthol tobacco flavored vodka. It's called Ivanovich.
So fucking cool. That's so fucking cool.
Cigarette alcohol is badass.
That shit got so fucking advanced since I quit drinking. I wish they probably have flavored heroin now. Like,
Brett wants
just like.
I want to put nicotine gum. We were talking, somebody told us we should put nicotine gum in the menthol tobacco flavored vodka and call it a nicotini.
Jesus. Yeah, you absolutely should.
So here's Bang. Bang is not your stereotypical high sugar life sucking soda masquerading as an energy drink. Power up with Bang's potent brain and body rocking fuel. Creatine, caffeine, and branched chain amino acids are what's in it.
That's so fucking cool. Imagine like someone who's drinking Bang reading that, be like, oh fuck, branched chain amino acids. That's gonna create so many new bacteria in my gut or whatever that shit does.
This is a shame that I have. I'm never supposed to talk about on the show, but I'm drinking Soylent every day now.
Oh man, I got one in the fridge for the past like 4 months.
Well, I buy enough that I can have them for breakfast every single day, and
really?
It's high caffeine.
Lunch. Lunch, probably.
Well, it's not considered lunch if it's your first meal of the day.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
So I have one every morning. It's got a shit ton of caffeine in it, and this stuff called theanine or something that's supposed to balance out the caffeine, and I like it. But as soon as I said I had it one time on the show, people started yelling at me. For I don't know why, like they just didn't like Soylent. So.
Well, it does have some bad connotations, but like I remember my buddy Reeves, who's like this fucking freak. He was at the show. It was his first live podcast, which it was my second live podcast, so it's not really saying much.
It's most people's like less than 10.
You can generally go to those all the time, but he was drinking that shit like a hound for a while. Like he'd have like 2 a day. But I drank one once and I just still wanted food.
Yeah, I kind of have gotten to the point now where, well, after I drink it, I don't want anything to eat, but I'm starting to wonder because I'm binging at night again. And I'm like, maybe it's just not enough. You know, I don't know what it is, but at night I can fucking eat I eat a whole thing of Oreos.
Yeah, I feel that. Well, it's because it's night. It's time to eat cookies.
Well, I quit smoking. You quit smoking cigarettes. Like I don't smoke cigarettes all the time. I do when I'm like touring or working or something like that. But other than that, I don't smoke them. And I swear that did that. Like getting off nicotine is the day I got off nicotine was when I started getting fat. Like I went from like 110 pounds, quit cigarettes and hit over 200.
Yeah, I'm smoking more now, but I'm also I'm getting fat because I'm stressed.
Yeah, the amount of shit you're involved in with this union thing seems like
it's real.
A ton of fucking work. And like this is something that I've always wanted to talk to somebody about. And I tried with the Burgerville union, but they were kind of evasive. Not evasive. They weren't like we didn't have a rapport or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to ask you what it's like to start talking to like the other employees at work about like getting this thing started.
Totally. So, well, when I got there, there's already, because there's some DSA members that work there, and just like the kind of people that work there that are younger, there's like older guys there that are like kind of at a sort of different scene, but a lot of the younger guys, not all, but a lot of the younger guys are like guys that sort of like, they'll be friends of friends or something. They're kind of like skate guys, like they hang out at the bar, but they're kind of the guys who live in the same neighborhood as me, basically. So I already knew some people that worked there, including my buddy Fatty, who's fucking cool. But yeah, they're like kind of drunk skater guys. I don't think they'd be mad at me for saying that. And there's other kinds of people there, but those are the dudes like I knew. And we just started talking. Like there was about 4 of us on the committee at first. And we just like, what you do is you ask people like what they want. Like you can't just like have this subjective or this like kind of not subjective, this sort of nebulous thing in your head, like, oh, I want to raise because more money is good. Like for me, what I focus on is like, I have trouble paying rent every month, even though I save because I make so little money or because my rent is so expensive now. So I focus on like, how would I feel if I could pay my rent and not like trip out every month and like really worry? And I would feel great.
Yes.
So I focus on like wanting to feel that feeling. And that's kind of how you got to get other people to feel too. Like you got to ask like, well, do you want to be able to like buy your kid new clothes? You can't give it to them. They have to say it, but everybody's got something that they want, whether it's like they want to get their fucking nipples taken off. I don't know if that's actually a surgery. If they want to get their balls lowered so they can have a deeper voice or something like that.
That's definitely not a surgery.
100% someone's done that before.
If you want a deeper voice, I think they would do
you
it with your throat.
You are not a fucking doctor. You are not a doctor.
Podcaster.
I'm not a doctor either. Yeah. But listen, I've seen every episode of Scrubs.
Okay.
With director's commentary. Mm-hmm.
You know,
I've written fan fiction for Scrubs. Hundreds of pages.
God, what a bad show that was. I just hated that
Horrible.
show.
Every time when I was at my parents' house and I would turn on the TV and it would just come on, I would want to fuck out. It was horrible. Nothing. It was always on.
It's that kind of fucking show where everybody's mean. And it's like exactly what I'm trying to like be I'm like a reaction to that. There's a show on Hulu called Difficult People about these two like really mean people.
I've seen ads for it. Yeah.
It makes me fucking crazy that it's like something that people would watch because it's just these two mean people that like hate.
I hate that
they're like two antisocial writer types that hate people. And it's like, fuck you. You know what I mean? And that's what Scrubs was. Like let's build community.
Kill yourself.
Well, you're not a comedian.
I didn't mean that. I'm sorry.
So that's been something that I've talked about on this show on Street Fight at times about like it's like a joke kind of thing, but I always talk about like if somebody gave me $200,000, I could make that work and never have to like complain again, you know? But really what I'm asking for is that I can like maybe buy something without then immediately going out to my car and checking my bank account app and having a meltdown.
Dude, I've been for the past 4 years, basically, or for the longer than that, I've been housing insecure. Like Jen and I weren't on the lease at our last place. We eventually moved out of there, and this new place, we're not on our lease, and our landlord's trying to basically like get us out of here so he can raise the rent. And it's like, finally, we almost had a house to ourselves, blah, blah, blah. And like, it's such a fucking part of my life that I don't even think about it consciously all the time. I just sometimes get seized with panic about it. And if I didn't have that sort of like weight on me 24/7, I can't imagine how much better I would feel.
Right. It's like my anxiety when I click. So I have this really bad. I wrote about it in a zine in the past, but I have this like really bad habit of checking my bank app, and I probably check that app 15 times a day. And it's not as bad now as it was when you had to call, because I would call 15 times a day.
Yeah.
And listen to all my cleared things to see if everything cleared. And it's just such it's like you go out to dinner, and the fact is that feeling that you have about your bank account, like everybody at your job is probably having that same feeling, but we've conditioned ourselves to feel shame about it and never talk about it. Me and Brett talk on the show about payday advances. One of the big things that me and him, one of the big things that me and him bonded over very early, and it was only because nobody had ever told me that they got a payday advance until I met him.
I was talking to probably like one of my best friends at work the other day, and he was like, dude, I almost got a payday advance the other week. I'm like, this is fucked up. Like, we're almost 30. Yeah. And we're like having to do this shit. Like, and we work it's hard ass work too.
Well, you're loading trucks and shit.
Well, I mean, we're loading off pallets. Like he's doing all this crazy. I mean, I do this too. We like clean with chemicals, like pretty caustic chemicals. You got to wear masks and all this shit.
They trust
and
you
like
with chemicals around
exactly.
stuff that people are going to drink, but they
Yeah.
can't pay you a living wage.
And they that's the thing is they fucked themselves because they used to pay a living wage within memory. Like I work with people who got hired for $2 more than I make now after a year.
That, yeah. I mean, that was, so when I worked at the cable company, I was the first wave of hires that happened when they switched to hourly pay over piece rate. And some of those guys went from making like, you know, they would make $200, $300, $400 a day down to making $9.50 to $10 an hour. And it was I was devastating for a ton of those guys. And like, you know, I was happy to make $10 an hour because I got hired in at $10 an hour. But there was this weird, like, for the time, at least I was there was this weird, like, there was a point before I quit where I was talking to a guy that had a job above me in a higher department than me with more responsibilities than me. And we got to talking about pay. And I was like, I'll tell you how much I make if, you know, you don't have to tell me how much you make, but I'll tell you how much I make. And I told him, I was like, I make $16.35 an hour. And he was like, I make 11.
Yeah, dude. Well, we also started talking about how much we make.
Yeah, it helps,
I
man.
would straight up just ask people, like, how much are you making? And people would tell me. And like, that's how me and my coworker figured out that no one had gotten raises. Like, we've been working there for a year. The minimum, we got paid up $15.50 when we started. The minimum wage went up to $15 in July, and then they bumped us up to $16.50. But they just hired. I asked a new guy, I was like, how much do you get paid? He said $16.50. That's how much I get paid. And I have like a position higher than him. Yeah. I work do way different work than not way different, but different work than he does. And I've been there for a year.
And you know, if you're a listener that works in a big place, you'd be surprised at the variance in what people make at.
Oh, for sure. Ask your coworker, ask your friends that you work with how much they make. And that's a good way to start this conversation. Because the thing is, like, we're not asking for the fucking moon or anything. We're not even asking for anything yet except for a fair election, which by the time this airs, we should have won, unless we don't win, in which case, if I listen to this, I'm going to kill myself.
Wow.
But like, we started hanging out after work and talking about like ways to make the place better. And a lot of people, we all have the same kind of complaints, like some management that doesn't always understand how things work on the floor, and pay. Our pay is really bad. It's like, you know, this Splinter did an article on us, like we were working with a reporter before we went public, and so he came out with a pretty big one. Fucking craft beer sales have like quadrupled, like millions and millions and tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars more per year, and then wages have declined 25% in the past 4 years. Like overall,
that makes I mean, a lot of these are, well, a lot of the craft breweries, I mean, I guess the big ones probably pay like shit, and then the smaller ones get that. Oh, really?
You know how much you make? Well, I don't know about craft breweries, but I know Budweiser, you make like $30 an hour starting.
Well, yeah, they have it here, and it's always been that you get, this is the hearsay from other people, you know, because Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch is the company that, it's one of those companies in Columbus that you're like, I really wish I could work for Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
It's like nationwide, Anheuser-Busch, and there's a couple other ones. And it was always $22.50 an hour and a free 24-pack of beer every week.
Yeah. So the other thing too is that we got free beer. Now we still get one 24-pack of beer at the end of each week. It's a short, which means like the labels were messed up or something like that. But it used to be until about a month ago that when you were working, like on your break or on your lunch break, or maybe if you had to wait for like some chemicals to flow through a pipe or something, you could go up to the tap room we have and have a beer. But they took that away.
That's fucked. I mean,
that is like tradition at all craft breweries.
That is fun. So they turned it into like a McDonald's, basically. Like you're working at a warehouse McDonald's, sort of.
They just started changing stuff because their agreement was they weren't going to change anything for a year, and the year just passed in September. But yeah, we have our reservations for sure, and we just want to make it like we want to keep an Anchor steam. Like we love beer, this beer. Like it was a huge, in fact, probably dangerously huge part of my childhood and early adult years. But like, and people here fucking love this shit. So, you know, we're going to start making Sapporo there too, which I don't think is a huge secret, although I don't know if I've mentioned that anywhere yet. We're going to start making Sapporo, but we're still going to make Anchor. And we just want to make sure that like we keep it really San Francisco. But it's, you know, it's funny saying that because Anchor Steam's whole brand, like their whole aesthetic is San Francisco. But like literally, like most people at my work probably don't live in San Francisco. They have to live. One of the guys in the organizing committee lives 2 hours away.
That, I mean, I was going to ask that. Like, a lot of these people are traveling into work.
We used to have a guy in the committee. We used to have a guy in the committee that fucking would drive from Santa Cruz every day. That's like 2 hours away. It's just an insane way to go.
So what has been the company's reaction like in the workday for you?
So we kept it secret for a whole year. And like, let me tell you, we worked at this every day for a year. Like pretty much all of my time, my mental energy and my like actual time was spent on this. And not just me, the other guys too, like all for a year. And
I had no idea, by the way. Like, I
didn't tell anybody.
Didn't know anything.
Yeah. I literally, I didn't even tell like 99% of my friends. But yeah, because I mean, we got to keep it a secret, and it was good that we did that. We kept really good like security because the management didn't find out. And so when we went public, we got up there and we tried to give the CEO a letter, but they refused to see us. So we just ended up seeing this one lady and gave her a letter, and she kind of like tried to intimidate me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, we wear these white uniforms, like these like coveralls with our names on it, and you know, we asked, there was a group of 6 of us and one of the longshoremen, because we're doing with this ILWU, who I'll talk about more in a second, but they're a hell of a union. And people call them the longshoremen for short because it's International Longshore and Warehouse Union. They're kind of known for their longshore division. But we went up with one of those guys and 5 of us to hand them a letter asking them giving them 24 hours to recognize the union voluntarily. Or maybe it was 48. I can't remember. They didn't do it. But we know the CEO. We see the CEO through a like glass wall, and he's talking to somebody else. And we're like, well, we just have to give him this letter. I guarantee he will want to see this. But they shunted us aside in this conference room, which we all like were pacing around in because everyone was so amped up. And this isn't a part of the factory that I've never been. They've never let me up into this part of the factory.
You did say on one of the shows that you've never been up in the office. Like the office workers don't mix with the warehouse.
Yeah. There's a rumor that they're not allowed to talk to us, which I believe because they really do not.
That's fucking crazy.
It's fucking psycho. But I don't know if that's true. That's just how it is.
You know what? I worked at Bath and Body Works warehouse and never Never spoke. I smoked a lot. I never spoke to a single person in the office there. And the office looked like a place that like models would hang out at, you know, it's like really hip. And then you walk through that and into the warehouse, which looks like a fucking warehouse.
Kind of how it is with us too. It's fucking absurd.
I believe it.
So we get in the conference room and this lady comes in and she's like, are you guys on the clock? Like she doesn't say anything but that. And we're like, well, yeah, we just thought we were going to come up and give a letter, but we didn't know we'd have to wait for so long because she had told us it would be 2 hours before we could see the CEO. We're like, they're not going to last 2 hours. And then we're like, we'll just give you the letter and get out of here. And I gave her the letter and she like looks at me and she knew it was for the union. And she's like, what's your name? And I'm like, oh, it's on my name tag. And she's like, I'm like, my name is Brace. And like, obviously trying to intimidate me, like they were going to write me up or something. But now that we've gone public, we feel confident that they won't fire anybody for this because that would be a big mistake. That would be an unfair labor practice that they would regret.
Are they being like, I guess you don't come in contact with them, so you don't really have to deal with them.
So we went on a media blitz because we knew we had to gain, like we had the element of surprise on our side. So we knew we had to gain like our sure footing, like really quickly. So for the week before, we've been working with DSA too. Like this originally, like me and my coworkers went to the DSA labor committee here, and a member from that, Evan, who fucking is a genius. He basically has been doing this with us the whole time and like teaching us what to do and like took us to labor notes trainings and all this shit. And he hooked us up with the longshoreman, but he like through DSA, we utilize like, cause you know, Anchor would just expect this like sort of standard labor thing, like 20 guys and maybe have a picket in front or like not a picket, but like a little rally in front of the shop. But we got about 100 something people out the first night, and we blanketed the Mission, which is the neighborhood right next to the one where the plant is in, with these flyers that would say, "We support Anchor workers," or these big posters. And so they're up in every single bar that sells Anchor in the Mission district. And in fact, not just every single bar that sells Anchor, they're up in literally 95% of bars and liquor stores.
That, I mean, you know, and the thing is, when we were in San Francisco, the thing that caught our eye the most was that like a lot of the murals on the walls and stuff were like against ICE and against things like that. So it is a radical. I mean, there's still radical people there.
People here are radical, a lot of them. Like we're pretty lucky in that regard. And we had the most insane support from people I've ever gotten in any sort of political action. It's almost unanimously in favor of it. Like people congratulating us and giving us hugs and fucking psyched. So we did this blitz and like it was big news overnight. Like I got to go on TV.
I know.
Just tight.
How was that?
It was awesome. Well, my dad works there, but that's actually not why they gave it to us. The producer didn't know I was like my dad worked there, or he knew my dad worked there, but he didn't know that I would be appearing. And that was cool. And all the staff, the people working, like the anchors and the cameramen and all that shit, they're all union. And so before the cameras were on, they're like, "We're really fucking excited. Like, we love the union. Like, it's a really good choice for you guys to make." And it's funny because there's like these news anchors like sitting up there, like all kind of like made up and stuff. And I've seen this lady who did the interview. I've seen her on TV a bunch. And it was really funny when the cameras, like, before they were on, she was like, "Oh, yeah, like, you guys are making a really great choice. Like, I'm really excited for you." But she also said, because she knows my dad, and she was like, "Oh, Brace, I'm so glad you made it back from Afghanistan." That was really funny.
Your dad tell her that you were like overseas?
Yeah, when I was there.
Oh yeah, he's overseas. He's actually overseas. That's what he's doing.
Serving. But we really got like a lot, and I mean a lot of positive media coverage, both in like the beer press and the regular press. And Sapporo, so what they did is when they bought Anchor, or about a year after they bought Anchor, they dissolved the Anchor like LLC and started a new one called Sapporo USA, which we're their only holding. And they don't even have like a press person yet. Like, it's just like they're just getting started. So they didn't like know what to do at all, because it's mostly Japanese people who work at Sapporo that don't, and apparently, like, from according to reporters who like called them, they were like, they couldn't, like, they didn't no idea what was going on.
Yeah,
like,
they didn't.
Like some sort of like, it was a language problem and like a cultural problem to some extent, because they were just like, why are all these people calling me, like asking for comment about something I don't know about, because they weren't comms people. And we just found out too that the Sapporo plants in Japan are union, so we're trying to get in touch with them over there.
Right? Yeah, I thought there were unions. I thought there were a lot of decently strong unions in Japan for some reason. For sure
are, but it's luckily my best friend speaks Japanese fluently. He's not an anime guy.
Oh, okay. Is wrestling? He's really into wrestling.
No. He went there and taught, and then like lived there for like 10 years.
I'm always
it's not weird. It's nothing to be suspicious of. Totally normal guy.
Always shocked when somebody speaks Japanese and they're not into wrestling or anime.
Yeah. He's really into Japanese hardcore.
Oh, okay. Well,
which is crazy shit.
Yeah, I'd imagine everything over there is just a little like I know the wrestling over there is just a little bit rougher and meaner than it is here. So I can't imagine what their hardcore is like.
He's really into baseball too. So I mean, they are as well.
I want to get a Carps hat so bad, but can't figure it out.
Sapporo's other plant in Canada, they're also union.
So do you think that they came here? Do you think Sapporo bought this because it's in the United States and there's not many unions here?
I think they bought it because they wanted to cut down on shipping costs because they wanted us to start brewing Sapporo, which is totally cool with me. But yeah, they didn't. I mean, to be clear, it wasn't Sapporo who made our wages low. They've only been here a year. Our wages were low always, or not always, but we're giving them a chance to
from the investors. Your wages were lower. The investors lowered those wages.
Exactly.
Right?
And we are totally like, we're giving Sapporo a golden opportunity to fix the wrongs of the past.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They should. I mean, maybe I haven't heard shit come out of their side at all. Like everything I've read has been your guys' messaging, which is good. And I've never seen a campaign for a leftist or left cause or a working class cause get mostly positive feedback
either. And it's cool because so when we first went public, because we had like I was saying before, DSA had planned out this whole campaign in conjunction with the other workers in the organizing committee and with the ILWU. And so we were ready to go. And we're basically running it almost like an electoral campaign. We're doing kind of really similar stuff, but I had to be the communications or the media director of the first day, just because I was the only person who'd ever done an interview with the media before. And I was really worried that people I don't know why I'm worried about this, but people who knew me from the internet or something would see me doing this and be like, that guy's just showboating. He's just trying to get more interviews or something. So I'm really stoked that the other guys have they're not freaked out anymore and they're doing them now.
Yeah. That's funny. I think I tend to think the opposite of you, and anybody I've talked to, I'm he doesn't he's not asking people to. I've never heard you've never even asked to be on this show. We just I said, would you like to do this show with me every once in a while? And you're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, but I love talking.
Yeah, but I never saw you it didn't seem like there was any time where you were thinking oh, I want to be a celebrity. It actually feels the opposite of that.
So I'm on some Netflix show.
What show?
Netflix show. Larry Charles, Dangerous World of Comedy. Larry something. He was a producer for Seinfeld and Borat.
Okay.
He wrote a bunch of Seinfeld things, but I did it a year and a half ago because I wanted a free plane ticket to LA to see my buddy Dan, and they gave me $150, which I donated, by the way, to a cause.
Okay.
A good one, but just one I don't really want to talk about. And
Louis
now
CK,
it just came out. Nah,
Louis CK Defense Fund.
It was my friend Justin and I came up with a way to make some money. No, to some people overseas, but that just came out a few days ago, and now I've been racked with anxiety that people are going to think that I'm trying to embark on a media career or some shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, really.
I know. It's like a neurotic thing I do.
It makes me nut. It makes me crazy a little bit because and Brett said this too, because you met Brett for the first time in Oakland, and he was like, that motherfucker should be on stage all the time. We think you're a fucking genius. And it's
you.
Well, I think here's the thing. So I do the show with you all the time, and we talk, and we've met a couple times, and I know you're a good person and you're cool, and we get along and stuff. But there's when you were on stage, there was a fearlessness that I'm very used to performing, and that's my audience, and they're there to see me, and I can basically the crowd's revved up to see me when we get to these shows. They fucking go crazy when we get out there. And you were willing to say things that you knew they wouldn't like, which is something that we want to do more, but it's almost impossible for us to do because our brains are just set up to make people want. I am just a person that wants everybody to like me,
Oh yeah, I get that. My worry is that I don't want people to hate me, because I used to be really into that when I was a kid, when I was in these punk bands, which is incidentally how I got comfortable being on stage. but I had this really like adversarial sort of personality shtick I did. And then I got like really over that. And so now it's like the opposite. Like, I don't care if people like me, but I don't like it when people like deeply hate me.
Yeah, me neither. I get it, like it depresses me also. I've said this before, but when like people that are on the left, I guess, don't like me, it hurts.
Too. And like, or people, I mean, I'm sure you know this, like people like make up weird rumors about you. That gets me because I'm like, I can't respond to it because then I look like a psycho.
Yeah.
But it's come on.
I had a person today that I made a comment about people who are lifestyle guru, people who have seemingly an unlimited amount of money to be a lifestyle guru. And a person made a special account to respond to me and say, do you really feel good typing something like this when you're in the top 2% of Patreons? And
are you?
I don't think so. No, I mean, Cumtown makes like 5 times what we make. And like, there's a bunch of other shows. Like, there's so many shows that make 50 grand. We make 10, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm making like $28,000 a year doing this fucking podcast. So
exactly. How much I make at the brewery.
Yeah, I'm not feeling super. I don't feel guilty about. Plus, also, I worked for 18 years.
Yeah,
you know, am I supposed to like? Yeah, am I supposed to put my like? So I have this successful thing that I'm able to make a living doing. And like, am I supposed to just kind of put that aside and do it for free and then work in a fucking warehouse when I don't have to, when I've already like the thing about working class people is that a lot of them don't want to be it. They're stuck being it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not like a romantic thing to be when you're there.
Yeah.
That's how I always felt when I was like when I was working at that fucking cable company, man. I did it for 7.5 years. I climbed poles in the fucking winter and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't want to do this. And now I don't have to do it. And I don't know, but that kind of like basically anytime somebody says I'm rich is the time that I get my feelings hurt.
That's the same thing with me because I work so much and make so little money that like, I'm like, when because there's all these rumors that like I'm an heir to some fortune or something. I wish that was true so badly.
I do too. I don't even know an heir to a fortune. I
do. Well, I've just met her.
Well, until I started doing street fight and touring and meeting more people, I am absolutely convinced I never met a rich person. Like up until like 2016.
So you started meeting podcast fans.
Well, not even like podcasters and fans and just people who I don't hold it against somebody if they grew up and their parents had money, you know.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
But like, I don't think that makes them automatically a bad person or not having good faith in what they're saying. Yeah. But I mean,
it depends sometimes on what they're saying. But like, if they, if they're like, if I would like you if you didn't have money, I'm gonna like you if you do have money.
Yeah, and
as long as you're not like an exploiter.
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't even know. I still don't know what a trust fund is. Like it's
just an heir that you get while they're still alive, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like something that like to me what I think it is basically a bank account that you get to start using when you're 18.
I think you can do it earlier than that, right?
Aren't there all like
60? I guess I don't know. But I mean, like, money is it? Is it your parents? Why wouldn't your parents just give you that money?
I think because rich parents are pains in the ass and they don't just want to give you the money. I mean, look, I'll say this too. I would love to like set my daughter up to be rich.
Oh, dude, I would love to be able to have enough money to have a daughter.
Yeah, because I talk about I've said this before, but like, I've had to scratch and claw to get like in the bottom rung of show business, like I've had to, and I want it to be like if my daughter wants to be an artist, she has the resources to start working on that at 18 instead of 37.
Wait, can you hold on real quick?
Yeah.
I think we got to pause.
All right. Go for it. I'll talk. You go pee. I'll talk for a minute. Brace has to pee. I mean, as you become a little older, you have to pee more. And we still got a few minutes. We had to start this show over again, so we're at 50 minutes. And he always thinks I pause this, but I don't pause it. I just keep talking because I can do that because I'm a professional broadcaster for a living. And all right, well, you're just gonna have to wait a few minutes. I'm looking at my Twitter right now, actually. But it is exciting that like this Anchor Brewing Union has me very excited for Brace and for the people out there, because it's a fucking incredible thing. It's a big union, and hopefully it empowers other people to start other big unions. I also think I'm going to have this show come out earlier than some of the others, because the other ones are less time sensitive, and I think this one is a good time sensitive one. Here, I'm gonna check and see where we're at here.
Yo.
Hey, man, I tried to talk through it, but then I got lazy.
It's okay. Dude, Jen ordered food, or I ordered food on Jen's account 2 hours ago.
Is it here?
No. It's getting delayed, but they said it was going to get here at 9. No, it's caviar.
They're all bad.
I was going to make noodles for myself, but then Jen wanted some food, and I don't want to cook her my own. So, yeah.
I fucking ordered in LA. I ordered at some Astro Donuts, and they took my order, and I was sick as fuck, and I didn't want to leave the hotel room, and the motherfuckers, they never came. It never came. So I just got up and I went down to a drugstore and bought one of those naked smoothies and a Cliff Bar and ate that for dinner instead of the fried chicken sandwich that I was supposed to get. We need to end these. We need to end these Uber Eats.
Oh, well, you heard that shit about they're not even paying their workers. It's all through the tips.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that.
It's insane. That's why I don't tip. I just stopped tipping everywhere.
You can't do
totally
that.
Liberating.
Actually.
Totally liberating.
You can't.
I'm like, you know what? The boss should just pay you more. That's what I tell him.
You stop on the way out.
Cup of coffee. I actually, you know what I even do? I don't even pay him the full price for the cup of coffee. So the next person, I'm sure, will buy a cup and then tip from that. That'll make up for my loss. Did you hang up on me?
Oh, Brace.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you stop on the way out of the restaurant and say you guys should start a union for yourself? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just like, you should do a little better for yourself. I don't want to seem like I'm really muscling him in.
I mean, I knew a guy that I grew up with that like didn't believe in tipping more.
Me too.
Then like he would tip like $2 on like a $30. Like he just was like, I tip what I have left, all the ones I have, and that's what I tip.
God.
So I used
to change.
Right. And I used to have to go back around behind him and throw more money on the table after he would leave. You know, this is just sick.
I've had to do that too. I went on tour once, and there was like some fucking guy who's like house we were staying at that did that. Like he was just like, I don't tip. And so we just ended up having to tip for him.
That's such a punk guy thing to like decide you're against.
Horrible. I think he was just deciding against it because he probably didn't have $5.
Yeah,
but it was horrible.
A lot of people are like I've noticed that like there are a lot of people who will like pirate things, and I know that like pirate movies and shit like that, or like podcasts or things like that, and like I know that I used to pirate these radio shows I used to listen to a long time ago. And my reason was always like, it should be fucking free anyway. But really, it was just I didn't have enough money to like pay for the shows.
Yeah.
You know? So I think there's a lot of piracy out there that's like, or like I'm not tipping, or like these principled stances that a lot of people just pick up because it's better than saying I don't have the money to do it.
Exactly.
Which is whatever. What I mean, you know, as long as somebody does the tipping. It does suck though when like you think about the fact that, you know, on a night the wait staff at a restaurant probably I don't know if most people under tip. I guess it depends on where you're working, but like everywhere I've worked with tips, like I worked at a deli that did a tip jar, and most of the time I would just leave with $8.
Jesus.
I was making like $8.60 an hour to work there. So it was like they're just making no fucking money. And I imagine with the Uber thing, I didn't know that like they weren't getting paid at all if you didn't tip. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, they're getting paid, but it's like they're not getting the tip.
Oh, they don't get the tip.
Yeah, the tip just goes to make up instead of the company paying them. Like if you tip them $7, they don't get that $7. That $7 just goes to like the $10 an hour they're making, and I think the company rips them off for more than that.
Fuck, man. How do we unionize them?
That's the thing. It's like impossible because they don't have a workplace, and they're probably classified as independent contractors.
They are.
That's the same thing. Like Uber and shit's such a tough nut to crack.
Yeah, I mean, means
that's
you have,
like
you have to make an app. Ahead. You have to make an app. It's really what you have to do. I think. Oh, have they? Because
what you gotta just do is you gotta just burn down Uber HQ.
I agree.
Just kidding.
I mean, people come to us like every 2 or 3 months, and they're like, "You guys in Chapo and Cumtown should make a should make a Patreon, basically, so that they don't have to go to Patreon anymore."
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, first of all,
the right wing people did it.
Yeah, but I mean, why? First of all, both of those shows make so much more money than we do. Like there would be no reason for them. Like, you know, you're making $150,000 a year. Why would you be like, I want to also hand off some of this to the guys that make 10?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like, or a month. And then like, it's just, then we're all working. We're like all tied together in this weird fucking thing. And then I get yelled at. I get yelled at for some shit that they said or the Cumtown guys said or something like that. And I would rather like, I want to live or die. This sounds very not communist, but I want to live or die on myself. You know, like I want to depend on me. Yeah. I guess it's more punk.
That.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking, I do too. I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta like depend on my girlfriend and shit and like work. Well, I work a lot, but
you do.
I'm just sick of being fucking poor. I'm telling you.
How many jobs are you working now?
3. I worked 4 jobs last week, but I work 3 regularly.
Like what I mean, do they all require your time? Like for you to go there?
Yes. Yeah. So what I do is, I mean, it's not as bad as it sounds. I go to the brewery in the morning, and I usually work like 6 hours. But actually, that's not true. I work about 2 days, 6 hours, and then the other days maybe 8 hours. Some mix of that to get me to 29 hours. Oh, because I can only work 29 hours a week there.
Keep you under 40, right?
Exactly. Just keep you under 30. Because if at a company our size, at 30 is when they have to start giving you benefits.
That's fucking 29 out. Making you work 29 hours is fucking disgusting to me. That kind of shit is bullshit.
Sickos.
They are sickos. I had the same thing. I worked 34 at one point, and it was a 35-hour a week.
I mean, it's just totally insane. It's like it wouldn't even. I don't know.
And it's so genius.
Like, how cheap are they?
Yeah, for the place that I worked at, the craziest fucking thing for the place I worked at is that they were like, hey, guess what? When you work at Caltech, 35 hours a week is full time. And then they made everybody work 34, so like nobody was
so cool.
full time. But it sounded
so
like
cool.
a badass benefit, you know. When you started, it was like, damn, 35 full time is 35 hours. I get 5 hours off every week, but it was like, you're still not gonna get there. Like, but it was a nice little benefit though. But those fucking anchor guys the Sapporo guys are twisted.
Yeah. I mean, it's totally twisted. I mean, they were doing this before Sapporo, but still totally twisted. You wouldn't continue this practice. But so I work at I also am a drug counselor, or it's a peer counselor technically, because I'm like a drug addict. So I like rap at you like your peer.
See, I would like to do something like that. I wonder how, like, that is something I would actually go do. I would probably do that for free or volunteer for that. You know, like, I mean, if somebody wanted to pay me, I'd take it, but that's something I feel like I would be decent at. How do you find it?
It's cool. I'm pretty good at it. I just started.
Yeah.
But you go into like, you know, loony bins and stuff. And you know, you talk to people. I've been in half those fucking places. So it's like, it's easy for me. And I like, you know, it's really easy. And then the other job I have is I work at an old folks home still. It's like a day center. They don't live there.
Yeah. How's
it's like people with Alzheimer's and shit. It's cool. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm like super good at that. Hell yeah. I'm so good at talking to people with Alzheimer's.
Yeah. I mean, you're good at talking to everybody, but I mean, I can see that. How is the job? I mean, so that you know, as far as old people go, like, I don't feel like I don't know, I'm 40, so I'm already getting old, but I don't know how good of, I don't know if I'm very good at talking to them, you know?
It's not really hard. Like, I to be fair, I work mostly with the more high functioning ones, but we just like today we came up with, because it's supposed to be a writers group, but I've been doing it for like, I used to volunteer there before I started working there. So I've been doing it all told for like 4.5 years. And so I ran out of writing projects. So like today what we did is we came up, because you know how in the French Revolution, the Jacobins and stuff made up a new calendar.
I didn't know that.
It's pretty cool. You should check it out. It's like the French, called the French Revolutionary Calendar. But they came up with a new way to organize the days. They came up with like new names for the months that were like, you know, can't remember what they are, the French words.
Like worker names and shit.
Kind of more. I mean, I think they're more just like fruit and like warmth. But they're kind of poetic sounding. So what we did is we came up with our own like I called it the Institute on Aging, because I shouldn't say that. Can you bleep that?
I can. Just give me two. Well, I'll get it in there. Okay.
I call it the Institute Revolutionary Calendar. Because they knew what, some of them knew what the French Revolutionary Calendar was too, and we just fucking, it's cool. We just like described what this, like the feeling of the seasons, and came up with a poetic sounding name for the months. And then said like what the months will represent and what like holidays we'll want in our future society and all this. It's cool.
That is,
you get to be real creative with them.
Yeah, that is actually, I mean, I feel like I wish I could do service like that. If I wasn't lazy, I guess I probably could. Yes.
I volunteered doing it before I worked there.
Okay, I need to do something like this. Now you got me thinking like I need to do more things.
I'm telling you, everybody listening to this, if you fucking volunteer with old people, it will be the fucking coolest. You will enjoy it.
Okay, I am actually, my father-in-law is in hospice now.
Yeah,
but not my father-in-law, my stepdad, the one I said was dying the last time we did a show.
Yeah.
He has survived all the way through January. He's still alive currently.
Yeah,
and his birthday's coming up, and I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna ask him if they ever need somebody to come in and like, I don't know, fucking maybe these old guys want to do a podcast or something like that. I can or help with public speaking or something. Like that.
You know what? That would be fucking badass, is if you did a fucking podcast with people in hospice.
I mean, I talked to I mean, I'll tell you this sad story. It's not sad. It's just depressing story because we're about done, and we're at almost an hour.
Okay.
So here's the thing. My daughter has to make a podcast for school. I don't know why. I can't figure it out. But I can't go in and talk to him about it because like my wife doesn't want me to because she's afraid it'll make people hate me. So I'm like, really
like, this fucking loser's a podcaster.
Well, I'm like really kind of depressed about it because I feel like I want to do it. And I just talked to Brett last night, and I'm trying to encourage him to go to the school board meeting and get him to stop saying the Pledge of Allegiance in the school district. Like we're kind of shooting for that. But I can't like really be open about what I do in my daughter's school district because I don't want to embarrass my kid. You know, it's like this guy's a fucking podcaster. He's like anti-America and shit like that. Just the whole thing. Drugs.
You don't want them to listen to the podcast either.
Yes. So you can't really talk about it.
Exactly.
But I do kind of want to be like, you know, hey, if somebody, because I always encourage people to try it. You know, or try comedy or try a podcast or try like their artistic thing. Cause I want everybody to do something like artistic and get their experience out there. You know,
I like every schlub, every motherfucker that like hangs out in front of 7-Eleven should do something like that because people got some insane shit in them. That's fucking cool.
And like, that is, if you're talking about building like socialism through, or anything, like the first goal or one of the easiest, quickest ways to get that is to have as many people as you can, like really brutally, honestly relaying their experience to people.
Exactly. And like, the thing is like, what am I doing socially? Like, what do I want socialism for? I want it so that like we can all live like full lives and like be full people. And like not have to like hate, like, I mean, like, you know, all this time you spend at work or all this time you spend, you know, paying bills and all this shit. Like, I don't want that in our lives so we can do fucking thing like this.
Yeah. Well, we talked last night about a work-life balance. And I said, it's like this person was saying, it's not a useful way to think of things because you're supposed to weave your work throughout your life. And I'm like, boy, that's like a really beautiful thought, except for most people hate their fucking work. And if you weaved it throughout their life, they would be miserable. And like having a clear demarcation, means like you want a clear demarcation. Like I can weave my work throughout my whole life, you know, because my work is easy and it's just basically being who I am.
Yeah.
But if I was still working at the cable company or if I was working in a warehouse, please don't weave that into my daily life. And like, I think and the imposter syndrome thing is a real thing. And that's really what most of us have. Most of our problems are that we don't know that everybody else is in the same boat as us. We just assume everybody else has it together, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I can guarantee that we will get messages after this show, after you said you check your bank account all day and I check mine all day. We will get messages from people that say, oh, I check mine too. I never thought anybody did that.
Yeah. That's the thing is like, there's such a commonality of fucking like the proletarian experience that I think people don't even realize that like, if people like look for these differences, and this is gonna sound corny, but people look for all these differences in us. But like the things that bring us together is that we all fucking check our bank accounts.
Yeah,
and that like we all like people don't get put off getting gas.
Yes.
Or like you never pay for the bus because you can't afford $250 a day.
Or you're waiting. You're waiting for you wait to pay your bills until you get a disconnect notice.
Yeah, I just fucking don't pay my bill. Like if I ever get a ticket I just don't pay. I get letters. I hate getting mail more than anything.
Me too. I don't like to check. I know I have to check it, but mail is like a guaranteed bummer every single day.
Yeah, it's just so psycho.
All right, Brace. It was good to talk to you again, and it was very fun. And
I gotta roll because
I know
I have to fucking go to bed in 10 minutes.
I have to plan whether I'm going to take a shower or not. But it was great talking to you again. And
sorry if I was a little all over the place. I'm starving.
You're great, man. It was great. It was good fun. And we will talk to you again in like a month or so.
Love talking to you. And
I do too. It's my favorite. Peace.
Me too.